Welcome to Burn Babylon Burn. This is not a news show. It's an opinion show. We encourage you to do your own research. We do not give financial, legal, medical, or any kind of advice. Now enjoy the show.
Welcome to Burn Babylon Burn. We got a lot going on here, and to talk about it, I got Rob Brzy again because Rob knows how to sort things probably better than anybody. I mean, I guess since I used to work with mud, I think the first time that I've had the same BBB guest on twice in a row. So you get that dubious distinction. Welcome to the show.
I'll take it. Dubious or not. I've been called worse. And nobody minds a doobie once in a while. You know what I mean? So if I am dubious with the doobie, then that's just how I do with my doobie.
I just had to take a pee test a couple of weeks ago, and you know, I do mind doobies. Actually, I don't like that stuff anyway. So I mean, it's really no problem for me just because it you know, whenever I was a youngin, fooling around with things, but after that, it just made me really paranoid, and I guess I'm already paranoid, but so it enhanced my paranoia, and instead of, you know, making it go away.
Well, I mean, look at us. I mean, come on, really? You know, being paranoid might be a problem. I don't know. What do I know? Don't ask me. I don't know. I don't know dick from shit. So, yeah. That could be an issue. What do you say? So, how have you been holding up? I guess you just got to a rest stop recently, and you're finally somewhere that is kind of perhaps like, I don't know, perhaps like civilization or something, you know?
I'm close to Atlanta now. But I am parked in a very strange truck stop cul-de-sac that I'm blocked from going any further. I could get out of it with some effort, but I feel like shutting down, so I'm going to shut down, and hopefully nobody else tries what I tried. But
yeah, you mentioned that to me, that the parking situation was really bad. So.
Well, no, these guys completely blocked the throughway, and so yeah, and now I'm blocking the way to turn around. So if anybody else tries this, it's a mess.
It's a multi-level cluster. Woo! It's like most things in government. Go figure. Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. So you've got your own little government going there. That's good to know. Do you get a pension? Don't get fired over sexual harassment lawsuits or anything. That's cool. I like that.
Tin pot truck stop dictatorship.
Yes, indeed. The best dictatorship. I mean, really. I mean, how dare you, though? It's not a proper dictatorship because people actually have to work and like get things done and stuff. And nobody wants that. And I mean, no.
Currently, I am king of this muddy pothole-filled cul-de-sac. So, you know, yeah, and it feels good. It feels good to be king.
All right. Well, good for you. That works for everybody, I think.
So I'm going to kick off with a little scripture because there was, you know, I titled this "Wars and Rumors of Wars," and that comes from Matthew 24:6. And ye shall hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that ye not be troubled, for all these things must come to pass, but the end is not yet. And I know that the end, there's a series of battles, and right now, you know, we're seeing it. We've seen, you know, over the past 100 years, a lot of war and a lot of crazy war, and the United States sticking its nose in a bunch of things where it doesn't belong. In fact, U.S. intervention has kind of been the theme of the past 100 years. You know, since we became an empire.
Since we became beholden to a central bank.
Yeah, it really was the Wilson admin. So, yeah, I mean, he promised not to get us into war, and he did. And
he did more than that. He literally made us the war machine of the entire world. It's like, how did that work?
You know? What's even funnier about this is that it's a big money laundering scheme. You know, like all of these politicians, they unquestionably back Israel no matter what they do, because all of the funding in the United States comes from people like, he's dead now, but Sheldon Adelson and, you know, George Soros. And so they, you know, everything is all through this Israel lobby. And they give, you know, 11 standing ovations to Netanyahu, but it doesn't make sense that they do the same thing for Zelensky, but it does, because that's where their bread is buttered. Zelensky figured out how to wire money back, and that's the old Sam Bankman-Fried conduit. So one hand washes the other. They steal our tax dollars. The military-industrial complex profits, Israel lobby profits, now the Ukraine lobby profits, and then it comes right back to these dickhead politicians like Lindsey Graham and Nikki Haley and all those people that are just clamoring for war. Oh, Rubio being, you know, almost as nutty as Ben Shapiro this week.
Dude, Ben Shapiro, it was frightening to listen to him this week. Okay, look. So here's my thing. I guarantee that they killed people to push this situation, as it were. Okay, I guarantee they did that. They don't care. Life, bodies, all that, it doesn't mean a damn thing to them. Okay. However, that being said, we all have a pretty good idea that this is very likely look, how many different levels of intelligence? 5 eyes. There's 5 eyes? Isn't there like 15 eyes now? 10 eyes? Something like that. They all missed it. And here's why I know they didn't. Because they gave out a warning last week. First off, we did the emergency, the EAM, I think it was called. Okay, the emergency test of all of our communications. The EAS, which is very strange. Okay. And I had it in my gut, normal. As you know, that something else was going to go down. So I started my ham radio. That was
super normal. The EAS test. The only weird thing about these things now is that they've incorporated cell phones into it. But
yes,
I used to work in radio, and I worked for the EAS flagship station for Texas. So anytime something was going out over the massive geographic area that is Texas, it was coming through our studios.
Sure.
So I don't think it was abnormal. You know, it's easy to say it now because we're post freak out on this. But I had a friend saying, you know, hey, you shutting your phone off at 2:00, and I'm like, no. But it's easy to get led into these things. And hey, it could have been something. It really could have been something, but I was skeptical on that.
Well, here's the thing. The fact that they made a big deal about it and also had issued a warning to gun sellers, gun stores, etc., retail shops, etc., that to be on the lookout for people that were looking for high caliber belt-fed weapons. And I'm like, well, that's oddly specific, isn't it? Why is that important? So what that tells me is they knew something, but now they're pretending they didn't. And that's what bothers me.
I thought that was because they're worried about people enforcing our borders because our government refuses to.
No, It was
Okay.
because they're worried they had gotten some intelligence that there were going to be attacks in the Western world by OTMs, as they say, other than Mexicans, right? And by radical groups. But they never, but of course, Biden, being an extension of the Obama administration, did not want to be specific with it. So, okay, so I guess what I was looking at and what was bothering me was one, the gaslighting. They didn't want to be specific with who they were trying to say might cause these attacks. Okay. That bothered me. All right. The next thing that bothered me was the fact that, because normally they'll say, well, we think it might be cartel related or whatever. No, they said nothing. So that's number one. That bothered me. Then number two is that you've got then you got a non-specific threat for what, New York and Florida, and I think it was Texas and Los Angeles and Chicago or something like that. And I was like, well, that's weird. Okay. And once again, we're not going to talk about who's going to do it. We're going to talk about just non-specific. So you've got non-specific threats. Then you got this warning issued to gun sellers to be on the lookout for people that are looking for abnormally large caliber weapons and or belt fed, fully auto, blah, 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 blah. Okay, fine. And then they roll out this EAS rollout. But then they announce the rollout and the federal government makes a big deal of it. Okay? If it would have just happened, no one would have probably thought anything of it. Oh, it's a test. Beep, beep, beep. Okay, cool. But they made it a point to roll it out there and grandstand with all 3 or 4 of these different things. And then this culminates to, we do the EAS, and then literally that weekend, we have these massive attacks, these Hamas attacks in Israel. So looking at it now, I'm like, well, I should have saw the signs. But one thing that's been bothering me is, and this is the thing that really bothers me and makes me think that, is Hamas really, are they really pushing for independence, or are they just working for somebody? Reason why I say this.
Let's get back to domestic.
Why when we were doing COVID stuff, I said the C word, didn't I? Why were we doing all this C word stuff? We didn't have hardly any terrorist attacks. Did the virus disarm all the bombs and all the suicide bomb vests and all that, or what happened?
Well, we know that that terrorism is just a tool of the system because it's never been utilized in order to break the system. Now, back to domestic things. You've heard the Hillary speech this week where she
camp speech,
threw in
the reprogramming speech. Yes, that all started coming up too. I found that very telling.
Yeah. Right. And so this, I want to say this just because, everybody knows kind of how I feel about Zog / Israel, whatever you want to call it. It's a huge mess. A lot of people that are a victim of that huge mess happen to be Israeli people, because they live in that surveillance state. They live in that state that forced them with injections during their version of the coup.
95% injection rate. Mm-hmm. How about that?
They get rolled over first.
Yes,
but it's a machine. It's a machine for sure.
Useful idiots, they call that. That's what the globalists like to refer those people to, as useful idiots.
So, the thing is, I want to say this to all the MAGA people out there that are just, unquestionably supporting Israel and everything like that. That, what Hamas is, people are, calling them terrorist groups, but they are an oppressed group, and they're doing what they can to fight. And whenever this system gets after you, you're going to be a terrorist on the mainstream news. When the mainstream news talks about you, you are exactly the same way as them. And you might not get provided with a paraglider by the Mossad in order to start the ethnic cleansing, which they
You
won't
might not
do.
be that lucky.
Right. They won't do that, by the way. They're not going to wipe out the Palestinians. That's hyperbole, because they're reliant on them.
Well, they
All of their
invented them. There's a lot of reasons to believe that just like our FBI, our CIA, our DEA, our DIA, they get together and they actually bolster certain groups because they want it to act as a safety valve, right? A societal safety valve. We're talking about Elohim City. That's pretty much what that was. Okay. We're talking about the Hells Angels. Hells Angels are also another heavily surveilled group, extremist group, effectively, when you think about it, that basically has about anywhere, at any given point, anywhere from 50 to 80% of its total membership is actually members of 3-letter agencies. So, I think you froze up. There you go.
Oh no, I just went away for a second. I was looking up a thing. But yeah, those it's always something like that. It's always a situation where one hand kind of washes the other. And
let's be honest. Now we have to ask ourselves, now it has happened before that Mossad agents have basically attempted to give a terrorist group a way out and kind of garner the activity and guide it to some degree, with the idea being, hey, we're going to go ahead and honeypot these guys, because that's what they did with us, right? They honeypotted, that's what January 6th pretty much turned into, was a honeypot, right? They wanted to find out who are the people that were willing to do something about freedom, right? So honeypot was Jan 6. They made it out into something it's absolutely not. And what did they do? They picked all the people up and nothing really happened. As a matter of fact, most of the cops and most of the people that died were from the actual police that were in on it, that were, in the inner circle of the plan. Okay. Which of course they would be. Because what do we have to do? We got to get rid of loose ends. So any of the police that seem to be figuring it out, and or any of the other people who might have been working for the government, either got shot, died within days or a week or so of the event, or a few weeks later, or killed themselves. Yeah, a lot of them committed suicide. Very convenient. You got to tie up those loose ends, right? You don't want those people testifying later or getting on podcasts
or going on Tucker.
Yeah, that'd be a problem, right? If recently there was that one black police officer who was involved in Jan 6 who said the whole thing was a setup. Did you see that one? I think that was on Tucker, actually.
No, I didn't see that. Whenever I think of black police officer on Jan 6, I think of the guy that murdered Ashley Babbitt, and
or maybe didn't. We don't know. We've got no way to know. I mean, they could wrap up a scenario like that so easily, and we'd have no means by which to verify. That's why it's bothering me right now when people are saying, look at the pictures. And I'm going, get the hell out of here. Pictures don't mean shit anymore. There's just so much deep fake that could be had that I'm like, pictures are the last thing I want to see. You know what I want to see? I want to see video. And then I want to see images of the hands. Because remember, the AI cannot do hands. That's what I want to see. I want to see the hands blurring up. Yeah, teeth are another one. Yeah. because it tries to make them either too symmetrical or too asymmetrical, or they just don't function correctly or whatever. But all the generic, I like to say, the dreamscape imagery it can do, things that you would pay attention in a dream. You know, you'd pay attention to face, you'd pay attention to the body, you'd pay attention to a body part,
Right.
you know, but hands in a dream state, hands and teeth and, you know, specific details like that, your brain just kind of washes over it, right? It doesn't really pay much attention to it. So this brings me to the next stage of our discussion, which is, we know that we're talking about the fact that there was a civil war between effectively the transhumanists and what I'd like to call them kind of the rehumanists. But the problem with the transhumanists and the rehumanists, aka the religious Pharisees. Well, I mean, you've got, and even amongst that, you've got a lot of headbutting going on, right? You've got your rabbinicals, you've got your Karaites and Sadducees who believe in Zadok. They don't believe in rabbis. They want everything to go back to the priesthood, etc. And then you've got so many different fractionalizations occurring within the religious part of their society that this is awfully convenient to just bring them all together, you know, against the transhumanists. Because here's the problem. The transhumanists are going to make excuse for Hamas's actions, okay? Regardless of whether it was actually Hamas or not. We don't know. I'm hearing early reports, and this is just a rumor, so don't freak out. Don't freak out. But I'm hearing that some of the dead people, dead Hamas agents, or whatever you want to call them, that some of them seem to be Chechenian and or Iranian. Yeah, that's already coming out. And some Afghanis mixed in there too. So it may have had very little to actually do with Hamas. And that's another thing that's kind of blowing my mind. I'm like, wow, okay. So maybe this wasn't 100% a Hamas show. And oddly enough, we did have those Mossad agents just come back from Iran that were long-term undercover agents, from what I'm hearing. So what were they doing in Iran? Okay. And they're showing that there's these quote, international businessmen, these Iranian international businessmen, and they give you the names of 3 of them. And then 2 of them, they don't give you the names of. Those are the ones that we paid, that we released the $6 billion to get back, right? So what were they doing in Iran? Exactly. And with that kind of money, you could buy one hell of an attack, even if it's just a stage attack. You know, we had, why do we think that the Israeli intelligence services would not have crisis actors? We're going to pretend like we're going to say that they would never do that? Is that what we're doing? Would they not have crisis actors?
That is basically what I'm seeing going around on X, slash, you know, X Twitter, whatever you want to call it these days.
Hence the need for the AI assistance in some of these images.
Speaking of AI, we talked about it a little before the show, but Little Ben, he's, oh, you want to see dead Israeli bodies? Well, here's one, and then he shows this charred clump, right? And then somebody runs it through an AI detector. It's 100% AI. I'm not saying that nobody's dying over there, but you know, they always say the first casualty of war is truth. And any kind of propaganda, I mean, and that's what this is all turned into, is that this is a big propaganda war. And so, like we were just saying, the transhumanists and the Pharisees were at each other's throats right before this happened. Now,
and the rabbinicals and the non-rabbinicals and the messianics, and they're spitting on Catholics and Christians left and right, and they're beating the shit out of Muslims who go to the Al-Aqsa Mosque. They had evacuated them only like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So it is an extreme shit show of civil war that was going on. And how do you stop the civil war.
You got to get them all united behind Bibi, and that's pretty hard.
Who's a piece of shit? I mean, the guy is a dyed-in-the-wool piece of crap, but
he is a fucking terrorist. So,
yeah,
so there's that, you got this war criminal and you got to get them all united around him. And so what does he do? He plays the terrorism card that gets everybody united behind the same thing. And so that's where we're at right now. Now for the massive money laundering scheme from the United States, who prints money for all the wars in the world, which is insane. And then you've also got this situation still ongoing with the Ukraine. A lot of people have been saying that the Ukraine is just an ethnic cleansing operation to basically create New Khazaria / Israel Part 2, complete with its own Iron Dome and digital citizenship. So that's the crazy thing that's happening next. Possibly, you clear out all those people, all the local people that were of that tribe were evacuated. Lost Rob. He will be back, but all the people of that tribe were evacuated beforehand, and now it's going to be cleared out, and you got all this space and beautiful land, and oh wow, he said his computer completely crashed, so it might be gone for a little bit. Whoa, blue screen. Well, we'll see if Rob comes back, but I can yak a little bit otherwise. But yeah, so this great land is being cleared out of its local population, namely the Orthodox that live there are being pretty well wiped out and pushed around and pushed out of their own land. And people are just, I mean, they never stood a chance. The funding this thing is insane because this is a small group of people compared to one of the best militaries in the world. And, of course they're going to get plowed through. And so they've got I see you there, Mud, in the comments. Yeah, it is about the global bank, as in it's a money laundering situation. But that BlackRock has all the contracts to rebuild Ukraine. And so if people get displaced over here in this Israel situation, where are they going to put them? In the place that was freshly cleansed. And that they have a heritage with that land, because most of the people in Israel are actually from Poland, Ukraine, places like that. And they showed up there based off the Holocaust. So they were there.
Why can't
from
I
Romania.
Hear?
Oh, you can't hear me. Darn it. I can hear you.
Show. Ah. Whoa.
Can you hear me now?
Crazy.
So
there we go.
Okay, good. All right. So BlackRock pretty much owns what's left of the Ukraine after all of this. And if people from Israel get displaced, they can pump them all in there. They do have heritage to that land because they were displaced after the Holocaust, which, was, Romanians, Ukrainians, Poland, Germans, and then they dump them all over there. They build them their own Iron Dome because that's another thing that's been in talks. And
we didn't get that, but they got it. Remember, I told you when I was working on SM3, we worked with Israelis and we pretty much handed it over. And what's funny is Obama shut down ours and said that Iron Dome style missile defense, quote, could never work. But then we handed it to the Israelis and it seems to be working just fine now.
Well, it's kind of not working just fine because they overwhelmed it. They fooled it. They started shooting their cheap rockets at it, and it was responding. And so they were shooting expensive rockets back at it. But yeah, that's the thing. The other thing was that jet that went missing about a month ago.
That was telling.
And
where'd it go? Did it go to Israel? Anybody?
That
Maybe?
was my thought immediately.
Me too.
Immediately.
It was either Israel or Iran. One of the two. One of the two got it.
I mean, this is how they got nuclear bombs, and no one ever talks about how.
Well, the
how they have
Rosenbergs.
bombs.
The Rosenbergs gave it to him. And oddly enough, we had a tribute movie to Oppenheimer, and Oppenheimer pretty much gave him all the information. I mean, they're not even trying to hide it anymore. They're rubbing it in our face, and that's really bugging me at this point.
That's true. I do want to say that Ryan Dawson did a great documentary on NUMEC and how basically they utilized these politicians, Jewish politicians, organized crime, and corporations all worked hand in hand to take our nuclear technology and send it over there.
That's right.
So,
and before that, there's a lot of talk that the early mobsters who ran all the brothels and everything back around the turn of the century, many of them were Jewish and were actually sending money to Bolshevik groups in Ukraine and in areas around Russia to go into Russia to settle old scores. So a lot of people don't realize that either. That's where a lot of that money came from. It didn't just come from the banksters.
Right.
Well,
I mean, they've still got it out for Russia, and they've still got it out for Germany. Yep. I mean, like this whole Ukraine thing is revenge for the pogroms, and exactly. They get revenge on Ukrainian people, and they get revenge on Russian people at the same time. Stolchenitsyn wrote another book, 200 Years Together, and it's all about that. So right. Now there's it's such a mess, and it's so complicated with these people because like at first it's like oh yeah, they just happen to be, it's all just happen to be, and then it turns into wait, a lot of the guys that are up to something just happen to be all of the same tribe, and the thing is, it's not like it's not like
show me one. But here's one thing I want to say though: show me one Sadducee or Karaite. Zadok, as they call them, Zadokian Judaism. Show me one of those people that's involved in this shit. You will not find one in them ranks. Not one.
But you are finding like the Orthodox rabbi kind of guys alongside the transhumanist atheist, trying
they
to
come
become
and go.
their own
It's weird.
God.
They're like mixed on both sides, and I don't know. I can't nail them down necessarily. Because we just had one of these jackasses saying that we should be worshiping him and shit like he's Jesus just because Jesus was a Jew and he's a Jew. No, Jesus was a non-rabbinical Jew like the Karaites or the Sadducees. He wasn't one of these rabbinical Jews that you guys use to turn that too many rabbis try and use to turn the temple into a cult. This bullshit.
And so what was really crazy about this too is we're talking now about the possibility of them building their temple, right?
Yep. Yeah.
They project the Star of David, which is not the Star of David, by the way. That right. was David never utilized that star. That's a satanic symbol.
Wasn't it originally Babylonian or something? It's acquainted with Baal and Molech symbology, I thought.
I'm pretty sure it's something to do with Baal. Yeah. And anyway, it's a satanic symbol though, as far as I'm concerned. And and they projected that on the Arch of Titus, and Titus is who destroyed the Second Temple.
Exactly. So, I thought that, when you said that, I was like, no, because I didn't actually know this story. I was like, what the hell? Are you kidding me? Yeah, they're doing that inversion thing, right? As above, so below. We control the horizontal, we control the vertical, right? And they're just trying to topsy-turvy shit. So you've always got this massive amount of psyop cognitive dissonance going on in your head that just doesn't make any damn sense, and let's listen to this for a second.
This man, minister of propaganda.
And there you go. Minister of propaganda. So, We're
Yep.
in through some looking glass shit. I mean, this is like Event Horizon level, fuckery at this point.
So my friend Mud here is saying my opinion is not valuing the innocent as the root of evil. Well, all of the Palestinians aren't doing this.
Right.
This is a group. This is a group within the Palestinians. But all of the Palestinians have their power cut off. They have their water cut off, and they're and that could be life or death. Not
Let's
not
link this
having
to the
access to clean
BLM.
water.
How did
Yeah.
the BLM riots go? Right? So now we've already confirmed that many of the attackers were not Palestinians. They were Iranian, they were Chechenian, some of them may be Afghani, but they haven't confirmed. Obviously, everyone doesn't show up with an ID on a suicide mission. Maybe they ought to. I don't know. But bottom line is, what did they do with BLM? BLM, they took people from other areas and bust them in to burn these neighborhoods down. And then those neighborhoods therefore suffered. And I think we may be seeing the same type of operation.
Right. So there's now
because they said that some of the leadership of Hamas didn't know what they were talking about when they were approached. Did you hear about that? Some of the leadership of Hamas in Palestine were being interviewed by were being approached to be interviewed by these different Arab news agencies about the attack, and they were like, "What attack?" so makes you wonder. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So they got a bunch of their Gladio leftovers from all of these Gladio things that they were doing whenever. Yeah. And then they basically set up a little team of terrorists, as they do. I mean, you know what Al Qaeda stands for. It means the list. It's the list of terrorists that they can utilize anytime that they need to accomplish something with terrorism. And here you go. You got a situation accomplishing something with terrorism, and and there's horrible things happening for sure.
Because they don't care. The globalists don't care. I mean, Netanyahu wants to stay in office, so he's got to stop this civil war, and he needs to unite the religious factions under something. And there's only one thing that they're going to unite for, and that's massive violence from an outside source. Okay? And that's kind of what they did with the black population here, is they saw them splintering and fracturing, and some of them starting to slip over to, because, let's be honest, most of the black population is actually quite conservative in every way except for voting. Okay. Especially a lot of the old timers from the South, etc., and a lot of the younger people. There's people in the middle who are kind of meandering right now, and a lot of that is just because they think they're going to get something, right? It's becomes the voting should never become either a culture or a tradition. It should always be about the greater good of the country. And I hate to say that because the greater good slogan has been so bastardized over the last 10 or 15 years especially. But it should be a bigger picture when you vote, right? It should not be this petty shit like, oh, I'm going to get 5% more on my Social Security or something. That's bullshit, because you have to understand anything like that they can give you, they can take away even easier, right? They've only got a million reasons to do it. So in a way, by them focusing on the violence, what they did was, and this is Alinsky tactics, they froze the opposition, which is, quote, white police who vote for Trump, right? So they froze that and made that the boogeyman. Oh, here's the boogeyman, right? And then they took these incidences that oftentimes weren't related or were justified, of all things, where there was violence that had to be exacted against a black perpetrator, and then made that person basically Black Jesus, right? And they just kept following this. But then they realized even that wasn't working very well. So then what they decided to do was go look. We brought all these black people, and they don't tell them this exactly, but if they were telling them the truth, they just said, look, we're going to bus in all these rowdy ass black people who will kill you just as well as they'll kill any white person. But we're going to bus them into your neighborhood to start burning things down to show how outraged you are. And most of the black people are like, wait, I don't want to burn. I'm not burning my own damn place down. What the hell is wrong with you? You know what I mean? And, but the thing is, it happened so fast and they had such monolithic control of the media because of CVID, right? Because we have this emergency going on, right? So they commandeered from top to bottom the media. So they controlled the narrative. So no one ever got to know that, hey, most of the black businesses that are burning were lit on fire by black people that have nothing to do with the black person who actually owns the building or that neighborhood at all, for that matter. Those people just got bussed away back to wherever, maybe even to a prison. Who knows? You know what I mean? We don't know that. They did. I mean, they did that with the Bolsheviks. And who could have gone into a prison to go see that they're taking prisoners and busing them somewhere? How are you going to do that? Especially when you've got the courts locked down, you've got the prison locked down, everything's on quarantine, right? You would have had no insight. There would have been no way you could have known. They could have gotten people in and out of the prison to use for these operations, and it would have been completely off the books, and no one would have asked any questions because they could have said, well, all these prisoners have COVID, and we're going to take them to wherever. We're going to take them to a facility so that they don't contaminate the rest of the prison. It was too easy to run these type of operations during that. And unfortunately, because you have a closed off society in Palestine, you can't really do anything there to monitor them to see what's going on. And almost everything that comes out of Palestine is propaganda. So, it's, again, too easy. Oh my God. Anyway.
When you mentioned that, the prisoner thing, a lot of the people that I think the people that Rittenhouse had to defend himself against, two of them had just gotten out of jail that day. They just released them right just there into the riot.
They're just good little boys. They're good little guys. They don't do nothing bad. They're just trying to make their way in the big world. Yeah.
So I knew this tactic because one of my exes was involved with Occupy, and she told me that the cops would release people right to the Occupy camp.
Yes.
And so,
see,
and then all kinds of crazy shit started happening.
I was getting ready to bring that up too, but yeah, you got it. Yeah, and that was how they broke Occupy. Remember? That's when Pelosi and Obama finally turned against them and said, "Nah, get them the hell out of there. We're done. Let the cops beat the shit out of them." And the cops didn't. And they said that the guys who were actually causing the problems, the cops weren't going after. The cops were going after the peaceful protesters who had set up there and had camped. And then they let these guys in there who were raping people and shit. Remember that?
Yep. That's exactly what went down. And it went down in all the cities across the country.
Yeah.
They were taking.
It was coordinated. It's like all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Oh, look, Occupy's not good anymore. Occupy's a bunch of rapist criminals. Okay.
They got what they wanted. They got their Democrats in power, and then they were done using them, just like they've done recently with BLM. They're done using them, and they don't get a seat at the table. No, they're done using you. They got to to have their revolution. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wouldn't surprise me if they're using the same tactics at this point. I mean, come on already. I mean, who are we fooling? So
always.
Yeah, it doesn't surprise me any. I guess the thing is that we shouldn't jump to any conclusions about what we just saw, especially now that we're seeing AI images, proven AI images being basically cycled around to drum up outrage. Not that we shouldn't be outraged, okay? Not that many of the Palestinians, likely had a hand in it, okay? Or were cheering for it. But the problem is that we really need to start. Here's what I didn't get. So they said that it probably took Hamas about a year of training and coordination and supplies and etc. to get this operation to go off as it did. Okay. So you mean for 1 year, none of our intelligence agencies could sort any of this out? Like,
No, this was definitely a coordinated event, and
yeah,
that's why I think also that they're provoking all the sides around them, because and that's the craziest thing is of course you can't fight a multi-front war. Not like that. Not when you got
no,
enemies on all sides, because because you act like a huge dickhead to the whole world. And then okay, so you got enemies from all sides, and you're provoking them all. You're pissing off Lebanon. You've definitely had it out with Iran. Iran and them. There has been problems for a long time. Then shaky as hell situation with Egypt. And they've got border. I think Jordan's probably the one they get along with the most. But they
yeah,
got borders every. They have
right.
like I want to say like 6 or 7 countries on their borders.
Oh yeah,
And not many of them get along with them very well. So if they go and piss all of them off, I heard that there was something going on with rockets into Syria. Was that right? Did you hear that today?
yeah, yeah. I
Me.
did. Yeah,
Okay.
Syria's back in
Oh,
play. That means so. Here we are. You know,
yeah.
it's way
And guess
too
who?
coordinated. It doesn't make sense. We're playing footsie with the Iranians again, and we're having like agents and things like that come up missing in Iran, and we got people in North Korea coming up missing. We got people in jail in Russia right now. It's way too convenient. And here's the other thing that I find very interesting. Okay, so I think we've kind of hit that on the head at this point. I mean, we've got the third temple that they want to build, and they're talking about they want AI to build the third temple, to design it for them. Yeah, I put that up
No,
on my
I did.
Telegram. Yeah, yeah,
Wow, I missed that one. I must have been driving when you put that story out. Wow.
yeah, dude. And I'm like,
Uh,
oh, you want the AI demon to go ahead and design the third temple, do you? Huh.
well,
I mean,
the first temple.
come on.
You know the story behind that, right?
Yeah, he had a
It's
ring. Supposedly, it was in a book Enoch, right? He had a ring where
well,
he was able to command demons, even though God told him not to, or something like that, and he did it anyway.
and his friend, Hiram, the Prince of Tyre.
Yep.
He
Yeah.
he went and got
Who
involved with
may
him.
not be
And,
Hiram Abiff,
right,
the
right.
first Mason, who was all about Baal worship and shit. But yeah.
And so you got angels, demons, jinn, and just all
Mhm.
kinds of different things building this temple that's supposed to be honoring God, but it's done, doing this with all of these terrible entities. There's a reason why, I mean, the weirdest thing about Solomon is that how prolific he is. He wrote a lot of the Psalms, and he's just there for a lot of stories, but then just how he falls. And yeah, and wow, that's kind of weird, because that's a mirror. That's if AI is involved in this, because I really believe that whenever you're talking to AI, you're talking to entities. You're not, I
Yeah.
mean, you're not talking to some computer program. If they're
Yeah.
using AI for this, oh, that's horrific. And not
AI is
surprising.
basically like a giant Ouija board. That's how you have to handle it.
Right. I mean, everything can be like a Ouija board in however way you want it to be, right?
Yeah,
But
effectively you're
this is
scrying. You're scrying
right.
into the black globe, right? Into the black mirror.
Right. I could take this Pyrex bowl right here and utilize that, or this jug of water. Water is always used in scrying.
Yeah.
So I mean, there are tactics for that. And hey, look at these things.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's a black mirror.
Why do you think you can't look away from it? Why do you think you get addicted to the phone? It's because it's meant to be addictive. All right. It's intentional. It's trying to draw you in. It's exacting us a toll, right?
So if my mirror on my truck, the mirror I look into to see if I'm doing, if I'm going the right place or whatever, or even a damn spoon can be used for scrying, why would technology that's really good and powerful not be able to be used for scrying?
Why would that be exempt somehow? You know,
Exactly. Yeah.
it's not.
And why
That's the
wouldn't
thing.
the things out here that are trying to cause turmoil, that are trying to get you to sin, trying to get you to lose your soul, those things out there, why wouldn't they tap into technology?
Well, here's the thing.
Or
They automatically tap into anything we give attention to. We know this. All right. So if you give attention to something,
attention is a
they
low level of worship.
yes, they will attempt. Well, a lot of people think that we project them, right? That it's us, right? Kind of like the theory of the poltergeist is that there is a young woman who's going through hormonal turmoil, right, as she's going through all these bodily changes, all these rapid cellular and genetic changes, and that those changes and that conflict causes a kind of like a burst of energy to come out that can take on its own form like a tulpa, right? And effectively, that's kind of what the AI is. So they're talking about handing some of the design of the third temple over to AI. I mean, it's crazy. I'll see if I can find the link and I'll go ahead and post it up. But they're actually debating. This is a big debate in Judaism. Do we let AI be involved in the design of the third temple? So
Crazy that that's even a thought. Right now I didn't get a chance to promote this beforehand, so thanks to the people that are tuned in. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to promote it. I just kind of finished driving and then jumped on with you. But yeah, AI getting involved in the creation of a temple, it doesn't surprise me at all, actually. It's and you know what they're called in Revelation. So um by that name, it's not a shocker. And um I mean, it it's weird how close we are to witnessing prophecy in our life. Like you know, Revelation's always been my favorite book, uh because everything else is past, and then just seeing all the signs and seeing what leads up to it. And I love prophecy. I think it's super interesting, especially whenever you look at old prophecies and how they came true, and how Jesus was foretold multiple times, hundreds of times. Only person that's ever lived up to all of those things, and
right.
and will be the only person that's ever lived up to all of these things, because hey, guess where we're at? We're at the point where we're about to meet the false Messiah. So
Right.
that's fun.
And they seem to be pushing up the schedule here, as much as they possibly can. And a lot of it is, let's be honest, it's because Netanyahu's in trouble. He's got the, transhumanist versus religious fractionalization occurring, and effectively a civil war going on. Then, Biden has the issues here where he said he had nothing to do, no communications concerning the business of his brother and Hunter, etc. And then somebody just does a Freedom of Information Act and they release 20,000 emails concerning the real estate deals in the various companies that Hunter and Jim Biden are involved in.
Did you hear
20,000
about his
while
other brother?
Biden was in office. And then we got Bo.
Did you hear? No,
Yeah.
no. His other brother, Joe Biden's brother,
There's Jim.
There's Jim, and then there's the one that's posting naked pics on gay porn sites. Did you
That
see
one
that
I
one?
didn't hear about. No. Go on with that. Let's see. So that could be a problem also. So it's obvious that, I find it interesting that they removed the Speaker of the House. And why did they remove the Speaker of the House? Well, they removed McCarthy because he wasn't moving forward with the investigation into Biden and the impeachment, right? He wasn't moving forward fast enough. So they decided that they needed to get rid of him. And I find it interesting that they find out that they need to get rid of the Speaker, and then all of a sudden, all these other things start to accelerate, and then all this other information starts becoming released, such as the 20,000 emails that totally were absolutely about all the businesses that Hunter and Jim were running. So, and now we've got gay shit. All right.
It's not shocking at all. I think Hunter referred to himself as being heteroflexible, and
Yes.
he does like to pose naked as well. So,
Well, remember that one where he had the dudes? Remember on the laptop? I want to say that it was Ivan. Ivan Silva was the one on Telegram who posted that one, where he goes, he's like talking to some chick. He's like, Donna or whatever, hey, do you want to hang out? And he sends a nude pic. And then these two dudes send a pic back to these two dudes send a pic back of just them going, you're like, what the hell? He's like, I don't think you're talking to Donna, dumbass. And then he goes and he doesn't care. He sends another nude pic. Even after they tell him, yeah, we're not Donna, he sends some other nude pic to these two dudes. Like he's just trolling for whatever he can get. He's on so much crack and meth and shit. I guess any hole will do. Cock-a-doodle do, any hole will do. It's like, what?
Yeah, it's complete sensation-seeking behavior that just comes from being like perpetually high.
Yeah, being a crackhead, effectively. I mean, he's just 24/7 goddamn crackhead. That's how they are. So, so we've got the new, or the other brother. Who's the other brother? Is that the one that owned that's not the one that owned the Waterman Island next to, or like down the way from Epstein Island, is it?
Okay, no, that's the one that he does, that all the emails leaked out about, right?
Yeah. Okay. That's Jim.
Okay. Jim. Let me get it. Joe Biden's brother. I'm just gonna type this into the regular old search engine.
You go ahead and do that. And I also find it interesting that a lot of these breakthroughs, these major breakthroughs in neuroscience and genetic engineering, etc., magically just all seem to happen right after we inject everybody with some crap that they won't still really tell us what it was. I find that interesting. Suddenly we're extending telomeres, and we can make any kind of cell into an immortal cell and use it for food, because that's a great idea. What could go wrong there?
Horrible idea.
And by the way, the cancer that you get from normal immortal cells totally isn't like, you will not like these cells, because these cells will totally give you a cancer that's not a cancer that makes it totally healthy or something. And then we also have the situation where we've got these people, the Vitalianos. So we've got Gordana di Vitaliano and we've got Franco Vitaliano, and they're doing research on nanoparticle delivered BDNF to hippocampus and enhanced neurogenesis. In other words, you're making parts of your brain. Neurogenesis, kind of interesting. Synaptogenesis, well, we know what synapses are, parts of nerves, right? And cognition in HIV neuroAIDS mouse model. So just to give you, this is March 2022. Okay, so this is a little while ago. But basically what they're saying is that they took AIDS, injected it into the brains of mice, and then the AIDS basically allow these clathrin nanoparticles to deliver BDNF to the hippocampus. Okay. So BDNF, if you don't already know, is something called brain-derived neurotropic factor, which basically causes brain cells to grow. Okay. These attributes make BDNF a potentially powerful therapeutic agent. However, its charge, instability in blood, and poor blood-brain barrier penetrability have impeded its development. Well, you're going to get really good blood-brain barrier penetrability if you induce neuro AIDS in the brain. So, because that's one of the things that typically happens with neuro AIDS is that the blood-brain barrier becomes very permeable. It says here we show that engineered clathrin trischelia conjugated to BDNF, brain-derived neurotropic factor, and delivered intranasally increased hippocampal BDNF concentrations 400-fold above the achieved previous with intranasal BDNF alone. We show that the BDNF CT-targeted tryptomyosin receptor kinase B and increased TRKB expression and downstream signaling in ITAP mouse brains. Mice were induced to conditionally express neurotoxic HIV. Now the condition, I don't know what the condition is, where how they're able to conditionally express neurotoxic HIV trans activator of transcription. Oh, there's our little buddy transcription, which they say totally doesn't happen, by the way. And, you know, also, too, even though all spike proteins are fusogens, did you know that the magic spike proteins that the mRNA make aren't fusogenic at all? So there, stop being a bigot and go march for BLM. Okay. So it says here that and suck the lady penis. I always forget that is very important. Although I don't think it's important anymore. I think you only suck the lady penis now if it's a Hamas lady penis. But I don't know. What's the rules? Does anybody know what the rules are anymore? I don't know what the rules are anymore. What are the rules? Okay, so now, so before wearing masks was illegal because of the potential of terrorist activity. And now I see people with masks. So are we back to masks being what terrorists wear, or are we just kind of like, what are the rules now? What are the rules? Are the rules that we wear the mask, we don't wear the mask, we wear the mask as long as we're Jewish, but if we're not Jewish and we wear the mask, maybe we're a terrorist, or what, show me on the sliding scale here. You know, I need like a 4-dimensional freaking array to calculate what box I'm in at any given point and what factors say that I can wear a mask. Do I need to wear a special mask? Do I only wear the mask with the Star of David on it? Is that what I need to do to show that I'm a non-Jew, or that I'm supporting the Jews, or that I'm a non-Jew? Which one is it? You know, we've got so many variables. We got to come up with a system here. You know, what mask do I wear? What day do I wear it? When do I wear the BLM mask? When do I wear the Star of David mask? When do I wear, you know, the mask with a, you know, cross of Christ on it? When do I wear my rainbow mask? When do I wear my LGBTQ mask? When do I wear my pedo mask? What mask do I wear and when? And where do I wear it when I wear it? I don't know. Somebody needs to sort this shit out for me. I am obviously confused, but I don't think at this point the mask has anything to do with health. I'm going to go out on a limb right now. Okay.
I think October is Italian Heritage Month, or at least it was. Okay, so it's Italian mass until, well, now, you know, now all the attention's got to go to Israel. They're always trying to upstage the Italians.
I know. And do I wear a yellow? Do I wear a yellow mask that says Yudin on it? like the Nazis made them wear, or do I just wear the one with the Star of David? And is it going to be yellow, or do I want to wear, or do I wear the one that's white and blue, or do I just wear a blue one with a black Star of David on it to show the UN that I'm also in solidarity with the UN and Israel? I mean, so many different things here. I need to know, what one do you wear?
I I bet you that there is a some sort of like probably some kind of blog of some sort that all the libtards go to that tells you what you're supposed to be doing at the moment. That's like, oh hey, right now we're celebrating, you know, this Heritage Month, or or the Ukraine, or gays, or transsexual sex workers. You remember the trans flag with the umbrella on it to signify that that sex workers fit under the rainbow flag now too.
Yeah, I want to know. Hey, so what I want to know is, so before the guys on the paragliders came in, did somebody make sure that they were vaccinated? I'm just, because I would hate everyone to get COVID after they get executed. That would be terrible. We got to think about the bigger picture here. Stop being selfish. Okay? Just stop. Stop being bigoted. Stop being racist. And do your PCR test, and make sure before you fly in on a paraglider to murder 250 EDM goers, you need to make sure that you bring a copy of your negative PCR test. Otherwise, we're just going to pretend like you didn't shoot anybody. Doesn't count. You didn't have a negative test. Sorry.
Hey, whatever works to get the people united for war, because that's always the key there. You got to get united for war. Oh, by the way, the gay porn site was Frank Biden, and
Frank. Biden, Frank likes Franks. Go figure.
Here's the headline: Joe Biden's younger brother Frank admits to naked selfie on guys with iPhones gay dating site is genuine. My phone must have been hacked, he said. Somebody hacked
you're
his
just
phone.
Gay. Just shut up. It has nothing to do with your phone. You're just gay. That's all it is. Get over it. Just be gay and be happy gay, or gay, or Berlin nightclub gay, or whatever. But just admit you're gay already. God.
It'd be good for Joe, because Joe could be like, oh, I even got a gay brother. Whenever he's doing his whole, he's like, whenever he's going on and on about, all of his things where he's woke, he's like, oh yeah, I put all these people of color into powerful positions. I've got this tranny dog boy over here doing nuclear disposal. Oh, wait, no, he's in jail for it because he's a kleptomaniac.
Did they really put him in jail? He's gay.
I don't know. I thought they put him in jail. They didn't put him in jail. Maybe.
I don't know.
You know what? He's probably walking free. He's probably just free as a bird. Free to do dog stuff. I know he's not doing nuclear disposal anymore, but they got some other weird guy. They've got dog boys as generals now. The military really is just a way to subsidize your trans surgery these days. So if you decide you're trans, you just join the military and they'll cut your dick off for you. And,
there you go.
Yeah, and give
if
you a high rank.
If you're a chick, you can be a chick with a dick. You know what I mean?
And they'll make sure you don't see combat. That's the other thing.
Well, and that's the thing that bothers me. It's like, wait, they're like, oh no, when you're trans, you're gonna be on the front lines just with everybody else, and you're gonna do your push-ups and all that stuff. And then they said, oh well, wait a second, no, because they'll have special uniforms, and then they're exempt from physical training, and they're exempt from the PT test, and It's like, no, you originally were promoting this. You said that there would be no difference. Every soldier would be treated the same. Now you're saying that they don't have to do 90% of the things that cause you not to get rank in the military. You know, like the only way I could get on the sergeant board, you know, I was only in for like 3 years, and I'm already getting my E5. I was kind of a badass. But I worked my ass off. I used to go and do regular PT, okay? The regular PT with everyone else. Then I did Fat Boy PT, which you can't call them that anymore. I guess it'd have to be called like transgendered PT now or something. I don't know.
No,
it's people that aren't passing their PT test, right? They're having problems, they're overweight, whatever. You know, they like bonbons, you know, too much jizz guzzling. I don't know. They've got extra calories for some reason. Okay. It's just the thing. It's a thing. So I would do the remedial PT, and then on the weekends, so I'd do that for 5 days a week. And then on the weekends, and sometimes even during the week, I'd work out again. So I was working out 2 or 3 times a day sometimes, you know, half an hour a shot, whatever. And, you know, then going on this thing called a VersaClimber, which I'm actually looking to buy another one here pretty soon because it was great for cardio. Not to mention, too, it gets you high. So anyways, I'd get on the VersaClimber and run that for 20 minutes to 30 minutes, or until I passed out and somebody had to come pick me up off the floor, whichever. And I'd run that too to get my cardio even that much higher. So I'd run like 2 to 5 miles. I'd come back, and then I'd do a half hour on the VersaClimber. And sometimes I puked on it a few times. There's been a few times when I got on the VersaClimber, I'm like, is that a piece of my puke or is that somebody else's? I don't. Let me wipe that off there. So it got so bad that I would literally strap myself, like, you know, a harness, like a ratchet strap. I took a ratchet strap, put it around my waist, and hooked it to the machine so that if I passed out or puked or whatever, I wouldn't fall off the machine. All right. That's what I did to get 300 on the PT test and kick ass so I could get rank. And now I got somebody who just says, I don't like my dick. And they leapfrog me. No pun intended. Leapfrogging is not another sexual position. It might be. I need to be aware of this. Now. Yeah. It probably is as of right now. I invented it. So if somebody's saying, if Sam Bankman-Fried said he's leapfrogging Sam Brinton, then we're going to know who started it. It was us. It was here right now. It is. We are literally the grandmasters.
Minister of propaganda.
So, okay, that's my rant. But it pisses me off because I had to work my ass off, dude. Work my ass off.
You should have worked your dick off, man. You would have.
See, if I'd have just known, I would have done that. Or I just said, I worked my dick off. Sergeant, I worked my dick off and I don't like it no more. Okay, son, come on over here. We're going to give you a bunch of rank and stuff. Okay, gee, thanks, Sergeant. I appreciate it. That's nice. Thank you, sir.
What's that? It's a machine gun. Let me see.
I thought that one would fit the discussion.
You got to get on the lesbian dating sites as well. That is another key to this whole scenario. Make sure that,
because you're a lesbian trapped in a man's body. See, that's how that works.
Yep.
Solves all your problems. So let's talk about Bo Biden. Bo bam ding bang, bada boom, ba ding ding ding.
So Bo Biden got that fast cancer.
Yeah.
But
super cancer.
He was also an attorney.
Duper cancer.
He was also in the military.
How you doing? How you doing, Larry Sinclair? Yeah, I'll help you. I'll let you testify. You could testify against Obama's testes. That'll be fine. Or not.
So we covered this last time, but the interesting thing that I kind of put together is that was there a battle? Was it just kind of like, was it Obama versus Biden at a time, and then Obama won? I mean,
Yeah.
because we know that it's Obama, Susan Rice, and Valerie Jarrett that are running Biden at this point.
The Iranian cabal, no pun intended.
So that's must have been what happened, because I guess, Joe might have just said, "Hey, I can make this whole thing stop for you. Just, put me in second place or whatever." That might have been.
See, but that's
the
not how
deal.
Biden works. We've learned this. Have we not seen since he's been president how he operates? We have the whole picture now. We could have said maybe, a few years ago or during the Trump administration or during the Obama administration that, well, and let's be honest, we already know that Joe, okay, so, but to your point, we already know that Joe is not above killing family members to get ahead, AKA his first wife, right?
Right.
I mean, so somebody important to Joe died right before he entered politics and right before Obama became president. The female that raised him effectively, which is his grandmother, she died the same night as his election, or right? And they said that she didn't have any health problems. But there's a lot of people who think that she knew where the gay bodies were buried. So he did not want that. So we already know that when people know something about Obama, they tend to die. As did that one member of his church that he used to hang out with. That was one of the clergy within Reverend Wright's church in Chicago. Died under mysterious circumstances.
I'm hearing rumors that chef that had worked with Obama for a very long time, that he was gonna come out with something, possibly.
Yeah.
That's a rumor. I got that from a Twitter account that seems to be extremely partisan MAGA, but I don't disbelieve it.
No,
by the way,
I think it's a definite possibility, but we'll never know. Because as Bill Gates once famously said, well, we don't know anymore now because he's dead. So,
Yeah, man, my mom was sending me Bill Gates stuff the other day.
Your mom was?
Yeah.
New level.
Yeah, no, my mom's awesome.
Achievement unlocked. Mom sends you conspiracy shit. Sweet, I win.
According to Ancestry.com, Bill and Melinda Gates died in 2013.
Yeah, I've heard that.
And then, yeah, okay, cool. Yeah, that one was fun. I don't know about that, but has a of course, Kevin Kline, Melinda Gates.
Yeah.
Didn't used to look like Kevin Kline. But now Melinda Gates does look like a spitting image, exact same nose. It's crazy.
We were talking about Blasey Ford and it's always so hard for me to remember that Supreme Court judge's name. But it looks like the same person. It's like he's playing himself.
Yeah. It happened to me as well. I for some reason I can't remember that guy's name, and he's one of the And man, we heard his name all the time whenever that was going on.
I know, and it's really weird.
Huge spectacle of that. That's that's got to be some sort of spell.
I think it's some kind of some psionic block, maybe.
Right.
That's the only thing I could think of.
We got sick of it when it was happening, so I want to give some shout outs.
Crapinaw.
Yes.
Yeah, Kavanaugh.
Yes. Okay.
So Kavanaugh looks,
real quick.
Blasey Ford looks like Kavanaugh in drag. I mean, it's impeccable.
There's a BitChute video out. It used to be on YouTube, but you can find the backup on BitChute that has. First of all, it shows you the technology. The CIA's had this technology for a really long time.
Oh yeah, at least 20 years probably.
Yeah, probably more like 30. I want to say that that it was early 90s whenever, and it's maybe even longer than that. But yeah prosthetics, and you can look like anybody. And so they did some eye measurements on Blasey Ford and Kavanaugh, and yeah, it was a really good BitChute video. I would recommend hunting that down if you can find it. Sorry, I don't have a link, but
either that or Kavanaugh was trying to get with her because she's secretly related to him, and they like to keep it in the family. You know what I mean? So
yeah, sister thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Man.
Sister gonna give it up. Oh.
So real quick, I wanted to say hi to Mud, OG Dadbod, and Medusa hanging out in the comments. What's up, guys?
All right.
Thanks for tuning in to this.
Yeah.
So, all right. So we know that they couldn't have not known that the things were going to happen over the weekend, right?
Right. And they played their hand. They showed their hand for the past 3 or 4 weeks on and off with all these alerts and warnings just out of the blue, non-specific. They knew something was happening.
I don't see how they couldn't have known. So, yeah.
And then the Iran deal, right? And then it just all culminating to something in the Middle East going down, right?
And then back to the back to the House of Representatives, and getting McCarthy out. Now that's interesting because it happened in that little donut hole. But what are they going to do now? Like, are they gonna? They're gonna get somebody who's super pro funding Israel, because I mean that's like a scatter shot. Anybody, you could have anybody, any of those people in the House are like,
they're all going to fall in line. They're all going to want to dump money and troops to Israel, and we cannot be involved in that. All right, look, we are, for all intents and purposes, we're a Christian nation. We don't need to be involved in that shit. All right, let's be honest. That whole thing between the Muslims and the Jews that's a family affair. You know what I mean? We're in the middle of it. That's brother against brother shit. And they should have settled that out a long time ago. And it just seems like this is way too convenient to solidify power in the Western world by using something that happens in the Middle East. Because again, we're already hearing the rhetoric from Hillary. She's already going for the reprogramming button, as it were. Oh, well, how do you assume you're going to do that, you crazy ding-dong? Unless, they've got this Obama neural interface coalition that has been showing its head in the background that deals with these Clathrin nanoparticle research that I was reading earlier. And just as a quick little nod back to that, which, all of a sudden they're talking about reprogramming people. How, that takes a long time unless you got something that you learned about, in the last 2 or 3 years because you're experimenting on everybody. And maybe you've got something that's just going to do this because, you may be able to get the own nothing part of this situation that you want to perpetrate, but I don't know exactly how you think you're going to get the be happy part. Because I'm not fucking happy. All right, kiss my ass. I'm not fucking happy at all.
I'll shoot 200 generals.
I am not fucking happy. Right. I'm not about it. So how are you going to make me happy, bitch? How?
They want to dump lithium in our water.
Well,
And like Yuval Noah Harari
that
says,
that makes people
we sit
stupid, though.
around and play video games, be on UBI, and it won't even be real UBI because you can't keep it. The central bank currency will expire, and so you'll never be able to save for anything. You'll only have enough money to get by and maintain. And so there's that, and then drugs. Man, they're trying to make drugs legal now. That's the new thing. That's the thing that's coming up. Watching all this stuff play out. I've made fun of Claude Adams before, but he seems to be coming around on a lot of things, but he still can't really see the forest for the trees on the eye situation, But he's always complaining about fentanyl and the cartels. We know who makes the fentanyl. We know that it's Teva right out of Tel Aviv.
There you go.
And,
yeah. The MDMA that Sammy the Bull Gravano was selling, by the way, was from Israel, from Teva, if you can believe that. Yeah.
That doesn't surprise me at all because they also are the same company that makes Adderall and Ritalin and pretty much everything that they got everybody hooked on right now. So the things that are, it's legal, I need it, all those things, those things are all pretty much straight from Teva. I know that you have figured out ways around Big Pharma. Can you share a little insight on how to get around all that kind of nasty stuff that they get people addicted to?
Oh, nootropics, phenylparastam, acetylcholine, low dose, microdose mushrooms, psilocybin, lion's mane. Let's see, lion's mane, chagas, you name it. I mean, you can just stack these things and it will pretty much, L-theanine, bucinoprans. I mean, there's a million different things that you could stack. And what's interesting is they're finding out that some of these stacks are actually causing epigenetic changes that are breaking the connections that feed the addiction. And one thing that I found that's very interesting, because I was pretty avid user of this system for 4 years. And since then, I have almost no addictions at all, except sugar. Sugar has been the one that has really sucked. But everything else, I'm almost completely off of it. I don't get cravings anymore. I don't get headaches from caffeine withdrawal anymore. I mean, it's really glorious. I walked away from, drinking beer for the past 15, 20 years. No alcohol. Even now, the sugar that I'm on is low glycemic, talking like coconut. They call it coconut crystals or what have you, that they're sugar substitute. Every once in a while I'll have some honey. But it's really wild because I've actually been able to get off of all of these things and break all the cravings almost completely and do it easily with very little withdrawal symptoms. So, and I've had 3 friends of mine that I've used this protocol to get them off of opioids, and it's actually worked. So I don't know. It's not medical advice. I'm just telling you that there's a lot of research behind it, and they use it in Russia especially, and a lot of the Nordic countries use phenylparastam for treatment of ADHD, schizophrenia, you name it. If you want, you could just look it up. You'll find all the links and all the research. And it's something that they had banned for almost 30 something years, mainly because it was invented by the Russians. So it must be bad, right? Everything Russian is bad.
Definitely bad. Oh yeah.
Yes. Bad. Not good, bad, but bad.
It's
So
real bad.
it's
Um, I've noticed, if I'm feeling low, if I eat tomatoes, that I perk up, and I think that it's lycopene, and I've read that
yeah.
it has a antidepressant effect, and so I fully believe that it's that a little bit of lycopene can help you out in those situations.
You want to hear something interesting? So everybody knows they banned, ivermectin, hydrochloroquine. They had also banned at one point NAC, right, from Amazon. They weren't doing any more online sales. They banned phenylprastam. This all happened during the COVID period, right? They banned all these different things. And what blows me away is that they went out of their way to such an extent to ban it. And why did they do that? That still is a mystery to me.
It's
Because
just like
now,
this.
now it's all back on sale. No problem. I looked it up and I'm like, I could buy phenylprastam on Amazon again? Holy crap.
Well, you
All
know
these
what?
things are back.
I don't think my show's gonna get taken off YouTube. I don't think,
Yeah.
you know.
Wow, go figure, huh?
If we had done this like a year ago, they might have
Even
taken it
6
down.
months ago. 6 months
Yeah.
ago, it got yanked.
Yeah.
Because remember, Mike had a problem with one of the shows that we had done. Got yanked. Talked a little bit too much trash about the CVID. Misinformation. Can't have that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't consider myself any sort of journalist or anything like that. I'm just talking about what I've seen and what I know and what I think, or what I think I know, because how do you know anything,
Right. We're all on a
So-
journey, man. That's it. You try things, you see if it works, you go for it.
So if I believe it, how is it misinformation?
Yeah, because you're informing people about a belief. You're not informing people as an authority of some sort. It's almost like they're granting omnipotent powers to, our crappy little podcasts.
That's how they get by, though, because if they say it on CNN, it must be true, right?
Well, we know that the last 3 years have been a big ball of propaganda. Okay, a giant test. They were trying to say they're trying to get rid of the indemnity from the vax manufacturers now. And what they're saying is, well, we got you with 150 different formulations. Okay. Tell us which ones actually work, and those will be the ones that'll be indemnitied. And they don't know. You know what I mean? It's like, why did you need 150 different formulations? What were you doing? Oh, you weren't really pushing for the public health, were you? No. You were just throwing shit against the genetic wall and seeing what happens. That's what you were doing.
The whole 70 years thing that they tried to pull, it's a good thing that right. What a scam. Oh, we'll leak out 8 pages a year for 70 years or something like that.
Yeah. They were going to drip feed that shit forever.
Yeah.
And pretend that was okay.
Meanwhile, all of the consequences of their actions are just playing out in reality.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, we're seeing the effects of it. I mean, it's a big deal. It's a big mess. More than anything at this point, a huge mess. So, but yeah, so bottom line is we all think that maybe there's a good reason to believe that maybe Beau Biden became inconvenient, shall we say, for Obama, and or potentially Beau approached Daddy with something and said, "Hey, Dad, you want to leverage Biden? I got information here. This Larry Sinclair guy, gave me some other information that you could use to push Obama around." So that's what we think. That was a hypothesis after seeing how things have played out. That possibly, Joe had something that was given to him by Bo, and then Bo became inconvenient to the Obama dynasty, as it were.
What if it's Hunter? What if Hunter decided that Bo was inconvenient because Hunter had the thing for Bo's wife, right?
Yeah, and his daughter, and
yeah.
his niece, because I mean, it's they're saying that it's a look, dude. I mean, there's even texts from Bo's wife basically telling Hunter to stay away from Natalie.
So weird. Yeah.
And you wouldn't do that unless, I mean, if they're just going out to lunch or something, that's fine. But the only way you'd say stay away is because you're getting her into drugs and or something else, right?
But there's that picture of him sitting on a couch with Natalie and all her friends, and they all have their feet on it, which is just, man.
Yeah, they got their feet in his lap, right? Is that the one?
Yeah, they all just have their bare feet on him. Like that's definitely like fetish behavior and and just disgusting. They're little kids.
Yeah. He's getting a foot job from the kiddies. Very nice. But we're all supposed to pretend that never happened.
Didn't he get a footer from the one of the Obama girls that's not really an Obama girl?
Malia. Yeah, Malia supposedly. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a huge mess, man. It's just like, oh my God. How do we still have this guy in office at all? It's incredible at this point.
It's not really. I mean, it is. This is the way it's designed. It's designed that guys like us don't get a say. We don't get to decide what. There's no dignity left in that office. There never was. It's just now the gloves are coming off, and we're starting to see everything for what it really is.
Yeah, they don't even try and cover it up anymore. I mean, it's just out in the open. It's 24/7. The White House has become Pornhub, and we're just all supposed to just deal with it, I guess.
I mean, they're having fun now. Yeah, they're like, oh, we get to be blatant about this stuff. It's like, oh, we're robbing all these people, laundering their money through all these other countries and all these stupid wars, and at the same time being complete deviants and promoting deviance, and horrible.
Yep. Hey, does everybody remember? Speaking of the CVID, let's go back to that real quick. Everybody remember when they said, "Oh, those swabs, that's not to put stuff in your brain or anything. Just shut up. Shut up, you bigot, and suck the lady penis." Okay? And if the lady penis is all the way down your throat, then that's fine too. But that's totally not going into your brain. Well, listen to this. From some of the funding that Obama had pushed for neurological interfaces. The intranasal route of drug administration exploits direct transport pathways to the brain and is a safe and non-invasive drug delivery method that bypasses the blood-brain barrier, avoids first-pass metabolism, and minimizes systemic exposure and peripheral side effects. So there you go, kids. Whatever they had on that swab went right into your goddamn brain. But hey, it's fine. You're just a bigot. Okay? So, other thing I wanted to hit real quick is, let's see. So we've got the Roundup herbicide ingredient connected to epidemic levels of chronic kidney disease. Has everyone been seeing, we've been talking about this for a while, the Fresenius kidney centers? Fresenius dialysis centers that have been popping up everywhere in every damn strip mall that you can see as you're going down the road.
Just like how they just started putting defibrillators in high schools.
Yeah. Because there's no myocarditis. What are you talking about? You're just racist. That's what's wrong with you. Racist. You're racist. Stop being racist. Yeah. So it's just a coinkydinky. That's all. Oh, let's hit the parasites. North Korean defector found riddled with large and unusual organisms. Huh. That's interesting. That's an interesting one. Okay. And let's move on to some more neurotropics in the line of own nothing, be happy. Man injected magic mushrooms into his veins, and they started growing in his blood. What could go wrong? What could go wrong? Science.
Science, man. Wow.
I am the science. You talk
That's
bad about
crazy,
me, you
dude.
talk bad about the science. Okay.
So he injected the spores into his bloodstream, and then they started growing.
Yeah, that's
Wow.
pretty much it. Yeah. You ever heard that one about don't eat the don't eat the watermelon seeds, otherwise you're going to have a watermelon in your stomach that they're going to have to take out? Well, that's what this guy did. He basically put the seeds of the mushrooms in his bloodstream, and now he's got mushrooms in the blood. Oh, I think I saw a science fiction movie about this. What was that old Japanese movie? Was it The Island of the Mushroom People? I think it was called. Well, he went ahead and did it. So there you go.
I fell asleep during that movie. I was really spored.
Ha ha! Zing! Oh, look at you go.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be really fungus, but it wasn't.
Oh, the Mushroom People are the main antagonists of the 1963 Japanese horror film Matango. After their ship is damaged in a storm, a crew of Japanese sailors become stranded on an island with a species of strange mushrooms that transform those who eat them into mushroom human hybrids. Ah! All right. Well, so this has been a theme. This has been a thing before. There you go. A mad and a padded cell tells of being shipwrecked on a foggy island with toadstool-eating tourists. Oh, this has been a thing for a while. Go figure. Matango. I remember it had, here we go. Attack of the, here in the United States, it was called Attack of the Mushroom People. So let's check this out real quick, shall we? Let's see what we get here. We'll get some of this. Oh, they got the whole film. It's only 1:29. Let's see if there's any really stupid, really bad lines. We got to do something.
Started up in the middle or something.
Can you hear it?
Here we go.
What are you gonna do?
Don't you worry. I'm going after that thing that came on board and frightened everybody.
Yoshida, don't do that. I'm sure it was a human being. Maybe he's a member of the crew of this ship.
I certainly hope it is a man, because then I'll be able to talk to him. I'll be very interested to hear what he says. A man thinks strange things when he's out of his mind. His reality may be more fascinating than ours. And it wouldn't matter what he ate.
This is so good.
Yoshida! Yoshida!
Classic, man. So that's what this guy's going to be dealing with. He's going to be one of the mushroom people. So yeah, kids, you don't want to be the mushroom people, okay? Just don't do it. It's not worth
Eat
it.
them like a normal person if you have to, but don't.
That's right.
Don't go mainline in that stuff.
No, it gets out of hand. You You got to make sure you go easy on it. So there you go. Man injected magic mushrooms into his veins. So he was hospitalized, and he had made a tea from it that began to grow in his veins. In a case published by the Journal of the Academy of Consultation Liaison Psychiatry, describes a 30-year-old man referred to as Mr. X. Oh, I'm sure that's probably all his name is, Mr. X. That's all you're going to get out of him from this point forth. So he sought to self-medicate for opioid dependence and depression. Doctors first became aware when he was brought into the emergency room department by his family, concerned about his ongoing state of confusion. The family reported that he had recently stopped taking medication prescribed for bipolar disorder, type 1, after which he began to swing between depressive and manic states of mind. It was during this period that he began research into the therapeutic effects of microdosing LSD and psilocybin, a naturally occurring psychedelic produced by over 200 species of I didn't know it was 200 species of mushrooms that produce psilocybin. Holy crap. That's a lot of them. A lot of mushrooms. So,
wow, yeah.
Right? 200. I thought it was only like maybe 10 or 20 or something like that.
Dude, did you hear the Janet Yellen story?
No, let me hear
Janet
that one.
Janet Yellen goes to China. This is a couple months ago. She goes to China, and she's at this restaurant, and she's eating this delicious mushroom dish, as she calls it, and it's apparently got hallucinogenic properties. She claims that she did not trip out, but she was eating the magic mushrooms at this Chinese restaurant in China when she was going and selling us all out.
That's awesome. Well, I've got something for that. Here you go. Yeah, I wonder how she's doing now. She's still trying. She's still in denial of the defrial. She did not fry. I did not inhale. Is that what she's saying? Something like that. I swear I didn't inhale that mushroom. Not at all.
Apparently she had like seconds or thirds or even fourths or something. She was like, "Oh, just keep these mushrooms coming and just gobbling them up,"
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this what Janet Yellen looked like? Is this what she looked like? She looked like this? Is that what Janet? This is actual footage of Janet Yellen.
Okay. For the audio,
after somebody told her what she accidentally took, the psychotic mushrooms there. This is actual footage.
For those of you that are only listening to us on audio, it is the meme lady of the lady that goes, "What?" The big lady. Yeah.
It's
what?
Just like her. Oh, yep. Too good, man.
Well, I think we nailed it. You got anything else for us before we zip on out, Rob?
Yeah, I got one other thing I wanted to go over real quick. In the research and development for neurological interfacing. So another new one that came out here, and there's been a bunch of stuff hitting all at the same time concerning neural interfaces, etc. This one is new magnetoelectric material as of October 10th. That was just released 2 days ago. New magnetoelectric material. Remember the nanoparticles and the paramagnetic particles that totally weren't in any of the vaccines? Remember those? Yeah, this is what they're talking about. Magnetoelectric material bridges gap in severed nerves and restores function. How about that one? I like that one. I think everyone can appreciate that, right? Maybe,
yeah, just load up on lodestone.
It's completely coincidental. You're just being a bigot again. That's the problem. That's really the problem, is that you're such a bigot, okay? That you won't let the magnetoelectric material that bridges the gap in your severed nerves restore function and make you suck the lady penis. That's the problem. Okay. So it says here researchers have long recognized the therapeutic potential of magnetoelectronics, materials that can turn magnetic fields into electric fields to stimulate neural tissue in a minimally invasive way and help treat neurological disorders or nerve damage. The problem, however, is that the neurons have a hard time responding to the shape and frequency of the electric signal resulting from this type of conversion. Rice University neuroengineer Jacob Robinson and his, I wonder if he's related to a Big Mike Robinson. And speaking of sucking lady penis, anyway, his team designed the first magnetoelectric material that not only solves this issue but performs a magnetic to electric conversion 120 times faster than similar materials. According to a study published in Nature Materials, the researchers showed that the material can be used to precisely stimulate neurons remotely and to bridge the gap in a broken sciatic nerve in a rat model. Hey, maybe this could help me. I'd be willing to play games with this shit if it actually worked. But man, you just don't know right now. This is all new shit.
Well,
And most of it they're going to use to make you suck the lady penis. They're not going to use it to like make you run faster so you could, play football or be a track star. So it's not going to happen. It's all going to be
exactly.
about just sucking lady penis. That's it.
That's what this is. It's a way to interface with you. So they create basically an operating system that they can work on, and they're not going to use it for good. They're going to use it for their purposes, and
For
their purposes,
evil.
yeah, and their purposes are they're going to run some magnets, and then you're going to start thinking that lady penis is a good thing to get into.
Interfacing your face with the lady penis.
Where'd you get the chicken?
From an egg?
Where'd you get the egg?
From a chicken?
A vicious cycle. We must kill it.
That's pretty much it. Vicious cycle. Unfortunately, we're what's being killed. That's the big problem. That's the issue we're having here.
Do you think that the transhumanists, like the secular people over there that are causing a lot of these problems, the Yuvals and Sam Altmans and all that type, do you think that they're the ones they eventually plan to win out on this whole situation?
Good question.
Because yeah,
I'm not sure. I don't know how this. I mean, maybe it could, because remember, they're all about the destabilization right now. They got to get the destabilization going. And if they have to let somebody like Netanyahu win for a little while, I think they would be willing to do that. Oh no, look, the transhumanists, they lost and they're totally not going to have an AI demon design the third temple. And we're not going to have, demons inhabiting dead bodies that were killed in a Hamas attack. Or we're totally not going to do that, And then meanwhile, Yuval goes, "Oh yeah, I gotta go. It's just gonna be me and Sam Brinton and who's the guy who got busted recently for the sexual harassment? He pretends he's into conspiracies. What's his name? Damn it. Anyways, and it's just going to be all three of us having circle jerks, in the basement for the next 5 years, because he got Me Too and all that shit.
was this another? It was some alt media guy.
No, yeah, he's the guy you hate.
I mean, there's a lot of those.
Who's in get him to the Greek? It's Russell Brand. It's just going to be Yuval Harari and Russell Brand giving each other handies and being sad that they're not going to be able to.
I don't hate Russell Brand. I just know that that he's just part of, he's a part of a scam to keep people in the left arena.
Right.
Whenever it's pretty obvious that, the way that everything is pushing, that leftism is the journey that they're taking us on. So
Well,
You have to
leftism, which then feeds
Yeah.
into transhumanism, that whole cabal, that amalgam, as it were.
Right.
You know.
And the current Republican Party and most of I mean everybody knows that Trump is basically a '90s Democrat, right?
Yeah.
And that's just because that's how far the left has pushed everything. That the old left, is the new right. I'm
Yeah.
saying go further right, and then go even further right, because that's the only way to push against this
Well,
shit.
that's the only way you get
know?
freedom. I mean, every platform on the left has something that's going to control you. That's associated with the government, whether it be UBI, whether it be interfaces, whether it be DNA, whether it be RNA, whether it be, just LGBTQP, transgender agendas, whether it be top, cradle to grave, quote, deprogramming. Everything they want to do to you is absolutely 100% anti-choice, anti-free will, and anti-freedom. I mean, every last bit of it. I mean, there's nothing there that lets
Not to
a human
mention,
be a human anymore,
If I were a religious human being.
So
it's anti-God. That's what it is. And
Yeah.
I mean, that's really the left agenda. And when you look at it, because that's the ultimate authority, and they're they always think that they're going around authority or something, that they're
the only
getting away
authority they're
from
going
that.
around is God himself. That's the only one they're going around.
They're inventing new authority. They're inventing new forms of omnipresence.
Right,
Look,
the human
we're in a surveillance-
as God transhuman bullshit.
Yep. We're in a surveillance society, and so
Well, that's
they're
part of
trying
being
to-
God, right?
Yeah.
Because he knows when you're sleeping, he knows when you're awake. He knows if you've been bad or good. So be good, for goodness sake. Okay, otherwise you're not going to get any presents for Christmas from the UBI Jesus. So
and always promoting what feels good instead of what is good, and it's just the way that they're pushing. And so I feel like we have to push back against that, and that's why it's like, hey, yeah, if that's what the news wants to call me, if that's what the everybody wants to say, yeah, I'm a right-wing conspiracy theorist. Yeah, screw
I'll
y'all.
take it.
I don't.
Shitting out Richard
Yeah.
Dawkins quotes he found on Reddit. I
Exactly.
need to prove that I'm smarter than everybody, so I'm just going to become an atheist. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah,
know.
no, we don't
I'm just
need
going to
that
become an
stuff.
atheist. I don't know what I'm talking about. Oh my God. What are we going to do with these people, man? I just don't know.
I'm the white rabbit.
That's where we're at right now. So it might be time to end it. I just want to hit
Yeah.
buttons now. I'm getting tired.
Yeah. Let's kick it off.
Old man needs to take his
all
ass
right.
to sleep.
Where do we find the great Rob Brzy?
Well, if you don't mind, I'm gonna post this one up on Spotify as like a swapcast type thing for the first time in months, because this, I think, was a very good one. So Spotify, Black Labs, BLAQLABS. I'm very buried in Spotify. I can't even find myself in Spotify, if you can believe that shit. I mean, that's how buried I am in Spotify. YouTube, WTF Forum, and sometimes on YouTube, Telegram, the Black Labs, UNFQ, BLAQLABS, UNFQ, which stands for unfuck. So if you want, you can ask if you can get on the channel, and if you don't suck, maybe I'll let you on there. And that's about it. My social media presence has been greatly diminished because I'm trying to get the hell out of New Mexico so I can go actually live with my wife like normal people, and but yeah, so many projects I got to do. I got to get them done. And what else? Where else can you find me? That's about it. Yeah.
Well, that's sweet. And if you're listening to me on Rob's swappy casty thing,
Yes.
then you can find me at libertylinks.io/TheDoomKitchen, or even email me, because I love to hear from people. And that is TheDoomKitchen@protonmail.com. Sorry I haven't been around lately, but I'll try to be around more. It's a little harder with I'm trucking in a new place, so trying to find time to do podcasty stuff. Anyway.
Making that money, baby. Make that money.
Everybody thinks I'm high, and I am.
Make that money.
All right. Good night, y'all.